What's up, everybody? You are tuning in to another episode of Audience of One podcast. My name is Adam.
I'm Razo.
Seb.
We got a special guest in the house, Pastor Frankie. Pastor Frankie, say what's up to the people.
Hello. Good afternoon or
Good night.
day, everybody. Good night.
Hello,
everybody.
How's everybody's week been going, man? How y'all doing?
We're good, man.
Man, my week sucked.
Really?
Yeah, I've been having to chase after everybody, help everybody in the company. I'll be working on a job, and then they'll call me. My brother will call me. He's like, "Hey, I need you to go help so-and-so." So then I go help so-and-so. Or they'll call me, and they're like, "Hey, can you stop what you're doing?" And they come over here and help us. And it's just been a hectic week, back and forth. And it's not as hot, though. I was going to say, it's not as hot. It's been pretty cool.
It's cooling down for you a little bit.
I get out at 7. I know you get out at like 4. It's like 60 degrees at that time, right?
Yeah.
Man, I bet that feels
Pastor
good.
Frankie, how about you, man? How's
It's
everything
been
going?
good, man. It's been good. Busy because I got 2 teenagers, man, running around.
Yeah.
So scheduling and stuff like that has been, but it's been good, man. It's been
Cool,
blessed.
It's good, man. What about you, Adam?
Good, man. Just got back from Mexico.
Mm,
It was,
How was that?
A lot of tacos,
A lot of
for sure.
tacos, man.
Yeah, I
A
saw
lot
him
of
sit down.
tacos.
He had to get a little comfortable.
Yeah, man, it was good. It was good though. We went to our pastor's, like they have there's family over there, his house over there, the rancho over there in San Luis Potosí. It was good though, man. Like everything was good. I never been over there.
Yeah.
My first time, but it was very relaxing. Like there's no internet, so it's just like behind the mountains.
Yeah.
It's like a small little town, but it was very like quiet, peaceful. But it was good to get to.
Did you climb up the mountain, the hill?
Nah, I didn't climb up.
Oh,
So you go up there, you get some good signal.
How long was that drive?
It was 16 hours.
16,
man.
yeah.
16 hours?
Yeah, and we left at midnight on Thursday, so it was like Pastor kind of started getting sleepy like 2 or 3 in the morning. So he's like, "Who's gonna drive?" So Christina was driving at 4 in the morning. I was tired. I went to work that day. And I was like, I'll take over from like I think it's 6 o'clock. I started driving in the morning. I'm like, I'm up by this time.
Did you drive across the border, though?
Yeah, we drove across the border.
No, like, did you drive?
Yeah, no, Pastor did. We were at Laredo, and then
He was like, "Hey, I'm Pastor Juve, let me buy." He's always in Mexico.
We got stopped by some like so-called
Cetas?
police. Yeah, but
So
Pastor
you guys-
gave him some money. He's like,
He's like, "Hey, right here, it's the offering."
I come every week, so
They already know him by name. They're like, "Hey, what's up?"
Man, he literally takes like I feel like he takes Mexico trips like every week, but he's like, "Oh, I'm going to Mexico. I'll be back Tuesday the next day."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
He's already back.
"Yeah, like man, it's not Mexico. It's not up the street."
He's like,
man.
"Hey, but he's like, I'm gonna go drop this off. I'll be back tomorrow." Like, dang.
Cartel, Pastor.
Man, for real. That's probably. They were like, "Juve, es la segunda vez
It's
esta
Bible, bro.
semana."
It's Son Biblia. Son
No,
Biblia.
yeah. Nah, but it was a blessing, man. It was to go
That's
about
good.
that church, and they had like because they have like vacation Bible school for the kids, and there was like it's a small town in Matehuala, and there was like 80 kids, so just like around the neighborhood, and it's not even a building. It's just kind of like a tent, and they just come, and to me it's like they literally were having people sleeping Saturday night. Because they had a bunch of like decorating and stuff, and I was like, well, where are they gonna sleep at? And they're like, oh, they're gonna sleep here at the tent overnight. I was like, man, like it's just very eye opening, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I feel like it's very grounding going to Mexico, and
Yeah.
I feel like that was a big thing that grounded me growing up was our yearly trips to Mexico, and it always helps you see like what you have and not take things for granted here.
And you come home, you're like, "Dang, we got AC.
Yeah.
That's a thing."
The water pressure runs
The water,
like that.
yeah,
like,
bro. The water,
Oh,
they,
yeah.
they don't even have the spigot no more. They just got the hose.
Yeah.
You got to shower before 3 o'clock.
Oh,
bro.
true.
Yeah.
Or no, you got to turn the boiler 30 minutes before
Yeah.
so you can get some hot
Yeah,
water.
yeah.
That's some real stuff. But yeah, it's good. It's good to see you guys again. It was
Yes.
good to see everyone. And
Yes.
Pastor Frankie, man, we've had you on our hearts, Pastor Adam, Razo, and I. And we're glad to have
I really
you
enjoyed
around.
y'all's conversation.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
man,
really
nice.
where for anybody who didn't know, I was blessed with the opportunity by Pastor Frankie here to be on his talk show on his
Yes.
radio station.
Yeah,
Yes.
And we went with him, and then that's when Pastor Adam got with us, Razo and I. He's like, "Bro, he put you there. We got to put him here." So
Yeah,
we made
man,
that
we-
step.
That's the only reason I did it.
So how'd you feel having the whole Garcia family in the
Mom was like, "Love me, mijo, love me, mijo, love me, mijo."
I kept on saying, call me, oh, that's my uncle.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my cousin.
That's my, what's up, cuz?
Oh, that's my tia.
That's my grandma.
That's my great.
Hey, that's my second aunt. What's up, tia?
That's my third cousin to my mom.
Is that my dog?
Man, that's my cuñado. I mean, he ain't even related, but he's related. If you know.
He's still family.
Nah,
Oh,
so
man, my tooth.
I'm gonna cut y'all off real quick because nobody asked me how I'm doing.
We asked you how you
Yeah.
doing. You
No,
passed it
bro.
on.
Passed it to me. And then
Nah,
Yeah.
we passed it
Oh,
to-
my
yeah.
bad.
So it's not even how I'm doing. So I've been working on something. You know, we're talking about photo and video.
Yeah.
I know you're here and you're gonna be like, what? So I prepared something. I've been working on it.
Okay.
And I wanted to, I guess, like share it with audience of one first.
Oh,
and so
snap.
Santo.
yeah,
Hot takes.
Exclusive.
yeah, bro.
Subscribe.
I want to show y'all this video, and I'll put it up. So I guess as we're watching it right now, you know, on the video, then I'll
Yeah,
put it up on the screen for everybody to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just sort of like a small testimony of what God has done, like with me and over the last year. And yeah, just I know that this is like off topic, but it was just
Cool,
like
man, bro.
really important for
Hey,
me to
hot takes.
come and share it with you guys
Oh,
first.
yeah.
Um,
Feel special. We feel
I
special.
feel, I'm about to cry, bro.
Tears.
Let's prepare this. Hold on.
Hey, Pastor Frankie, welcome.
Welcome.
All right. I want y'all to watch this because can you hear? Hola, espero se encuentren bien en este día. Quería compartirles un pequeño testimonio. Este año Dios nos llamó a mí y a mi esposa al ministerio y nos ha dado mucha palabra, nos ha alumbrado el camino, nos ha dado mucha dirección en esta temporada en la que estamos. Y han habido muchos momentos de duda, han habido momentos de aflicción, han habido muchas preguntas de que han pasado por nuestra mente sobre lo que Dios tiene para nuestras vidas. Pero la palabra de Dios dice, fiel es el que os llama, el cual también lo hará. Try not to cry.
Sorry, bro. You gonna cry, Pastor? I'm about to cry for real.
I wish I could zoom in on y'all's face right now.
The best promotional video I've ever seen.
Oh man.
So-
Congrats, man.
So we are
Razo.
expecting our third kid.
Bro, I was expecting a testimony.
I was like, okay.
You're like, wait, where's the testimony?
I was like, yeah,
I
this
thought you were
man.
gonna do like an intro for the show.
Bro, no, you're introducing a life.
Yeah, so we made this video and we're sharing it with our family this Saturday.
Oh my
and since we
gosh.
air on Wednesday, I've been wanting to tell y'all, but we just haven't found the time.
No wonder.
I was out of town. We've been sick, and Pastor Adam was out of town this last weekend, and so then that's why I texted y'all like, "Are y'all free Sunday?"
Oh, that's
and
why
so
I wanted to get
Dang, we were like, nah.
nah, we don't have time for you. So I told him, I was like, let me go on there. And I was going to make a little onesie with the new audience of one fan coming soon.
Oh,
But
dude.
I didn't
We
have
gotta
time,
make
I didn't have time
per one.
to make that
Let's see.
happen. But yeah, so we found out the weekend of my birthday that we're expecting a third kid in.
Oh my God.
And there
Well,
was a big-
congratulations.
Congrats,
Yeah.
man.
And I guess like the testimony behind that real quick was just that after we had our second daughter, we were kind of like, that's it, you know, like no more. We just don't see ourselves with the third kid. And the question always kept popping up like, yes, no, yes, no. And there would be times where my wife would just straight up tell me like, I don't see myself having a third kid. And I would kind of be more on board with it. And then vice versa, I would just tell her like, hey, like that conversation's done with, like we're not having it anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then Sebastian was here when somebody came to preach. We had a guest preacher, and he just straight up, we got called into ministry that day, and our life just kind of flipped that day. But that day he told us, that question that you have in your mind, like about having a baby. He said, I see a third baby in your wife's womb. And so for us, it was just like that. And that was in April 24th or 27th. We were looking at the date this last weekend. And then, to find out in August that.
Dude.
And it was so unexpected. Like, we were like, there's no way that you like, she was pregnant. Like, it was just no way. Because you know. And I mean, so here we are. And,
Dude.
What a great start.
I know, right?
Bro, honestly, congratulations.
Thank you.
First of all, the video was well put together.
Thank
I was
you.
like, man, this is going to be the strongest testimony.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Background music.
I know. I was like,
man.
dang, like this brother did something bad. Nah, you did it.
Yeah, so we're having our family over this Saturday,
man.
and I guess we're tricking them with saying like, oh, like we want to share this testimony with
share
y'all,
this.
and it's just the same
Bro,
thing, so.
you almost had me crying.
man,
Yeah.
So it wasn't the stomach bug.
Yeah. So you were lying.
Yeah, man. So
Well, congratulations.
yeah.
What a great way to start. I mean, we're bringing in a new life and a new introduction to somebody.
Yeah.
Well, while we're introducing new people,
Yeah, right.
Pastor Frankie,
What's up, Frank?
why don't you tell us about yourself?
Sorry, bro. I like
No,
completely.
man.
Nah, bro, that's big, Razo.
Hey, no,
Honestly,
no,
thank
hey.
you so much. That's
You want to
big.
run it
Like,
again? Run it again.
Honestly, bro, I want to cry. Go ahead and run it again.
Sebastian teared. You did too.
I was like,
Yeah,
I was gonna cry, not just Mitch.
yeah, man. Well, welcome to the audience of
Welcome
one
to
podcast,
AO1.
bro.
Hey guys, man, it's a blessing being here. Thank you for the invite. Thank you for for having me here, man. I'm excited. I've been trying to catch up. I talked to Pastor Adam about 2 weeks ago. Like, dude, I'm on 3 right now. And yesterday I watched the Friends one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it, man. I loved it.
Banger.
And I'm
Thank you,
excited
man.
to be here, man. Excited to be here, being part of the show. You know, and I'm loving it. Thank you,
Cool,
thank you
man.
guys,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, man. So tell the people, man, just a little bit about you, about who you are, what you got going on. I know Sebastian mentioned a little bit that you got, a radio station, all that good stuff. But what else you got going on, man? Tell people a little bit about yourself, man.
Man, right now I'm doing a little bit of everything, but who am I and see, sorry, I'm not Spanish English guy, so
Oh, that's fine, man. That's fine.
so in all around, man, I'm a father, I'm a pastor, I'm an associate pastor at the church, and I also do radio. I do radio
right.
Saturdays, every Saturday mornings. I'm a music teacher. I'm you name it, I'm pretty much that. Except construction and mechanic. I don't do those things. But you know what? And where did I come from? I was raised in Oak Cliff.
Yeah.
Born in Mexico, raised in Oak Cliff. God has done a lot of things in my life, and here recently, there's been a lot of changes. It started like 3 years ago where God just started changing my whole life, man. My whole life, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna talk about it here a little bit. But overall, man, I'm just a regular guy, normal guy. Been a Christian for since I was 9 years old. Claro, when I hit 15, 16 years old, I got away from the things of God. Got into a Tejano band, started going into the clubs, quinceañeras, and all that. Lit, bro.
It was like you were dancing to Bad Bunny, huh?
Oh,
Hey, how long ago was that when you started the kind of thing?
Man, it wasn't yesterday.
That buddy was still a kid.
I think Bad Bunny was still about this big.
Grupo Más.
Yes, Grupo Más, Tropa F. I mean, you name it, and David Lee Garza, the whole everything,
man.
man. Everything that had to do with Tejano.
That's crazy.
Can't
man.
forget Selena, I
Of
was,
course.
Yeah.
Queen of Tejano. Queen of Tejano.
Oh yeah. But and after that, God brought me back. I'm a praise and worship leader. I've been I was a praise and worship leader since I was playing since I was 12 or 13. I started at church, and ever since, man, I've been a youth pastor. I've been now that I'm at this season of my life, now I'm estoy ministrando. I'm helping with the singles. I'm a leader for the singles and
that's awesome.
with the men, and just anything, man.
Doing
That
it all.
I'm actually leading también. We're one of the leaders of for the children's church. That's something that I've never done, man. I
Hey,
have
bro,
never
open
done.
up a church.
Huh?
Open up your own church.
One man show, man.
Yeah.
That's one thing, man. That's one thing that I haven't done. But I mean, I would participate, as a Sunday school teacher, or
Dang, bro.
praise and
That's
worship.
tough
As a
right
matter of
there,
fact, when I at this church that I am now, I became the praise and worship leader of the children's church.
Wow.
Of the children's church. So I've been participating, but now I'm leading together with one of our leaders and stuff like that. So we're working, and it's just recently, man. It's been like about 3 weeks that we decided to take.
So out of all the instruments, because you play a lot of instruments,
yes,
we went over that. Which one's your favorite?
It depends. If I'm leading praise and worship,
That's
it's
right.
piano. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
no.
if I'm just playing, just playing somebody else is leading, and I love the bass.
The bass.
The bass,
I wasn't
yes.
expecting you to say
Yeah, the
that.
bass is the foundation, bro.
He slept
Yes,
at the
exactly.
bass.
And the
The
only
bass,
reason
yeah.
I'll always love the bass, but one of the biggest reasons now is that the bass is always connected to what? The drums.
The
The drummer and the
singer.
drums and the drummer now at our church is my son. So
Dang, the
so-
chemistry is
yes.
1,000
Oh
right
man,
now.
we looked
I
at
know,
each
right?
other. We know exactly where we're going.
There you go.
That's
but
awesome.
How does
one of
that How does that feel though? I think that's interesting. I don't think very many people have that,
Yeah.
ability to experience that. What is it like being the director and your son's there next to you? What's it like worshiping with them?
To me, man, it's a blessing first of all, and to me, I'm excited because if there's anybody that knows me,
Yeah.
it's him.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah,
and
for
if
sure.
anybody that knows him and knows his abilities and knows what he can do, it's me.
Yeah, yeah.
So when we see each other and we connect, man, just by looking at each other's eyes, we know exactly where we're going, or he knows that I'm following him, and so he does a parada, a break. He knows exactly where I'm going, and I know
Dang.
exactly
Yeah.
where he's going.
Wow.
So regarding that, man, I guess it's just what's it called that I'm still able to play.
Of
It's
course.
the way that I can play, and he'll
Of
be able to,
course.
I'll be able to still keep
how old
up
is
with
he?
him. He's 17.
He's 17.
He's 17, yeah.
What advice do you have for us when it comes to? Because I feel like I see a lot of parents struggling to connect with their kids once they're in their late teens,
Yeah, for sure.
because of we've all gone through it. You start being independent. You start feeling independent.
Identity
you
crisis.
start trying to
Yes.
figure
We
out
talked
who
about
you
it.
Talked
are,
about that.
who you want to be.
Think you know it all.
What you're gonna,
It's true.
you're about to exit high school at that
Yes.
at that age. So,
true.
what advice do you have for somebody, I guess being able to connect with your teen in those years? And
I think the biggest thing, and it's funny because we talked about it in the radio with Sebas, and one of the biggest things is understanding the times that they live in. Understanding the times that they live in. If you don't understand it, because, like I said, 10 years ago, they're not growing up the way we grew up.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not. There's a lot more stuff. There's a lot of more temptations. Everything is in their hands. It's just a fingertip away. Just the press of the button and everything's there. And understanding the times are different. That's first of all. Second
Yeah.
of all, communication from the beginning. Communication from the beginning. I mean, my boys, even from they were little, I would spend time with them. And now to this day, I try, my best with my busy schedule. And now, being a single parent, at least once a week, even if I'm driving them to school or driving them to practice, I know I got 20 minutes. I
Yeah.
got 30 minutes.
Yeah.
How are you, son? How's school? How is this going? And we talk about life, man. Talk about if I'm going through some things, or if we're going through a process or a season in our lives together as a family. It's like, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this change? How do you feel about this decision?
Right.
And then after that, how do you feel about what you're going through and how are you feeling? And especially with my 17-year-old.
yeah,
Like you said, my 17-year-old he is going through that, and he's a senior this year, and he's trying to figure out what he's gonna do. I mean, he says he wants to stay within music.
Yeah.
He wants to be not a musician, but in the music industry,
Yeah.
one way or the other. He's thinking about that. He has schools, ¿cómo se dice? Escogidos. He already chose the kind of schools that he wants to go to, but. Believe me, even though the communication's there, it's still a struggle.
yeah,
It's still a struggle because yes, that not that attitude, but that belief. I'm always right, Dad. And sometimes our advice, if it doesn't make sense to them, they're like, why?
Like, nah.
Why would I do
Yeah.
it? Why
Yeah.
would I do it if it doesn't make sense? But sometimes I tell them, son, if you really love me and you really trust me, you will do it. And just do it without even asking. Because sometimes we have to do that with God. God tells
I
you
was
do
about
it.
to say that, bro.
I'm telling you, God's gonna
Yeah.
say, "Hey, go here." It's like, why? Just do it.
Yeah.
yeah.
And when you do it,
Hey, Jonah got
Man,
everybody
yes.
fish because of that.
remember what I mean? I said,
Yeah.
look, when you don't obey God's promise of God's word, and if you don't do it, you're eventually gonna get swallowed by a fish,
Yeah.
and and you're gonna stop the process.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're gonna get it done. Eventually, it's gonna happen, but you're just prolonging it. So that's what things. Same thing with my son. You know, look, son. Sometimes you won't understand our advice as parents. You know, as parents, you're not gonna understand. But trust me, that's a lot of this advice comes because of the Spirit and because of God is telling me to tell you this.
Yeah.
And so the communication, big time. Communication, understanding their timing. The times, understanding the times, communication. And the biggest thing, show them that you have time for them. Show them that you can stop whatever you're doing, whatever's going on, and 100% concentration on what they want to do.
I'm curious that this might, like, because I love everything that you're saying, and everything that you're saying is the way that I see things, right? But like that this mindset just like sort of come to you of like, I want to establish clear communication with my kids. Like, was it always there from the beginning of like, this is how I want to parent, or was it like sort of a work in progress?
It started with me being single.
Okay.
Being at home with my parents. The background with my parents, like I said, we were at church since I was 9 years old. My parents se entregaron a Dios. You know, they got saved when I was 9 years old. And my dad's background and my mom's background were like, they grew up in a household where they didn't demonstrate love. They didn't demonstrate the I loves yous and the hugs and everything like that. So that's how we grew up.
Of course.
Then my dad loved God at 100. He showed me. I tell everybody, I am the person that I am because of my dad.
Yeah.
He showed me how to be there. If church started at 7, you're there at 6 o'clock. If the church ended at 9 o'clock, you don't leave until you're the last one to close the door. You know, and you clean up. You do that. He's showing me how to serve. You know, he showed me how to be there and how to be faithful. But what he didn't express, he didn't know how to express himself with his kids. You know, he didn't know how to say, man, son, I love you.
Right.
Son, he gave me a hug. Or when I finish playing, you know, ministrando, whatever, he will never go up to, man, I love the way you preach. Or I love the way you let God move inside of you. And that's, you know, as kids, we look for that. You know, we want that. So that's being said, you know, as I grew up, now don't get me wrong, you would run into my dad. He's like, man, I have a son that's a praise and worship leader, and my other son plays the drums, and my daughter sings, and and do this.
But then when it comes to like you directly,
exactly. You know, to us, we were his crown. You know, we were his pride and joy. And so when I saw that from the get go, before I even had before I even thought about getting married, I said, my kids aren't gonna grow up like this. I'm gonna express my love. I'm gonna express. So how did I start doing it? By expressing it to my parents, to my dad. I would come to him and I would give him a hug. You know, I would give him a kiss in the head. You know, and he was like, I love you too. You know, like I love you too. And so from that point on, man, when my wife was pregnant, you know, I would start talking to my boys. I would start talking to them in their belly. And I'm pretty sure y'all, every single one of y'all have said that.
I have.
You will.
Start writing notes, bro.
Not yet, bro. Not yet.
Start writing the song.
So from that point on, you know, everything, you know, I would carry them. When I had them carrying them, I would talk to them. You're gonna be this. I love you. You have no idea how you changed my life. You know, and just from that point on. Now, I have a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old. And even today's boys. Okay, this is what's, you know, what people like. Boys. They don't go to sleep unless they got a hug from me, or they can say goodnight.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
They don't go to school. I'm working, and they're like, open the doors, like, hey, Dad, are you busy? I'm like, yeah, what's up? I'm leaving. They give me like a side hug because they're in a rush. They're always in a rush. And then before they leave, like, Dad, I'm leaving. They give me a hug and they go, I love you, Dad. I love you, Dad. And they'll send me texts like, Dad, I'm home. I love you. Or when I tell them, hey guys, I'm leaving. I'll talk to y'all later. I mean, I'm gonna be late, you know, and this and that. All right, Dad. Good night. I love you.
Yeah, I'm getting like a little emotional because, like, you know, I've made like yourself, I've made the intent to like open up myself emotionally to my daughters and give them the emotional space. And right now, my oldest daughter, she's not old. She's about to be 4. But we're already working on emotions, and I'm telling her, you know, when she starts like throwing her fits, like I sit down with her, like, okay, like, are we sad? Are we mad? Like let's start talking about it. And one of the things, this whole topic fascinates me a lot. And I know we probably didn't like come in here thinking about talking about this, right? But,
Hey, bro, we're going.
This topic is like very like. It just fascinates me because I hear sometimes a lot like my parents weren't like that, or
Yes.
but like sometimes I've told people close to me, have told me that like, oh well, my mom wasn't like that, so that's why. And I'm just like, well, maybe her mom or like somebody down the line, maybe there was like some like relation something happened like with the relationship where like it just couldn't be mended, and that's how it was. And then that's what like the next like what the next generation saw, and then the generation after that, and it's just been like that. Like, well, they weren't like that, but like somewhere down the line like something broke,
And somebody has to make that
and like we have
change.
to mend that. And I talked about it last podcast. Generational wealth is also
Yes.
about like mending, like changing that moving
Exactly.
forward. So I mean, that makes me really happy, man.
It
So,
makes
like,
it has to make a decision. You have to make that decision. If this is how you want to grow up your kids the way you grew up,
yeah,
with that, with not being able to express your feelings, and then people know me. I'm a very emotional guy. I'm a the video, man. It's just like I said. I just mentioned. I'm like, man. I'm like, oh my god, that's so sweet.
He's like, I'm gonna be an uncle.
And so within that, with that, you have to make that change. You're gonna want to make that change, and
Absolutely.
I have a brother-in-law, and and he has a girl. I don't have girls, but and I'm gonna share this with y'all because he shared this with me regarding girls.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? Don't ever leave their hearts, win their hearts all the time, even when they're 20, 23. Be their protector. Be the one they love. Be the one that you pay attention to, because that'll keep them away from putting eyes on somebody else.
yeah.
He says, win them,
Wow.
love them, protect them. Even when they, because we have that, we don't have. So some men have this mentality that once they're 15, 16, no, let the mom take care of them now. Let the mom, because they're becoming women, and they're becoming this, and we have that mentality but don't, no, it's different.
Yeah.
And then one of the things that I've preached to the men is like, you know what? Our kids are gonna turn away from us when we give them a reason to look for somewhere else.
Yeah.
They're gonna look up to us all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how old they are. They're gonna look up to us until we give them a reason to look away.
Yeah.
So that's always a
Yeah.
key. So with girls, from what I've heard, it's like always protect them. Let them know, que son las princesas.
Yeah.
Because once they know they're the princesas, they're gonna compare any guy that comes into their lives.
compared to dad.
To it, yeah.
You're not better than my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
love
right,
that.
I do.
my dad brings
I-
me
I
flowers
deal
all
with
the
that.
time. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or they open the door. No, my dad opens the door for me all the time. And so they're not gonna be worried about falling in love with somebody else,
Yeah.
because they already know what a man should be,
Yeah.
because that man is in their house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's a good.
Yeah, I love that we're covering that because it's something is we're talking about, just the relationship between children and their parents. Like, I realized like when our daughter was born, like I fell in love once again. Of course, with God and my wife, but when I held Harmony for the first time in my arms, I was like, yo, I'm like in love again. And I was just like, and they said that skin to skin with the parent is so important. Because it's like that's the first that's the first people you feel when they're at the womb. And I was like, man, and to me, and I was sharing this with Christina, like I know one day Harmony's gonna be older and she's not gonna want, like right now she's at the stage where like me, like pick me up. And I like, no matter what I'm doing, I'm like, even if I gotta do, like I'm like trying to steam my clothes
And carrying her.
because I know there's gonna be a time where she's like, I don't want to be, she's gonna be old enough where I can't pick her up anymore, or she's gonna be old enough where she's just gonna start walking and she doesn't want me to pick her up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so every time like that she wants to be picked up, I'm like, I'm cherishing these moments now. Like we're talking about, because it's like, yo, like I want this to last forever, but I know it's not gonna last forever.
Yeah.
Because I know she's gonna grow older, and she's gonna, like you said, like, hey, they're gonna have their own, like, style, their own character, their own personality. But I'm like, right now in this moment, I'm like cherishing how to be a father, like what you're talking about, like having this communication with her, like speaking to her. She's like throwing fits right now, and I'm just kinda like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, why, And I'm trying to, she's at that. That age where she doesn't want to share.
Yeah.
So do we need to have an encounter?
Right? So it's just like, but these moments that you have, like I've heard like dads go on like father-daughter dates. And so I'm just like planning that already. Like,
Are you ready?
Yeah, like let's go here, like something just because I know that's something that I wish that, like you were saying, like that relationship, as I know, like at least from like the Hispanic culture, is like they weren't like this kind of lovey, don't, if they are, it's just like, get away from me. Like,
Yeah.
they didn't know how to share their emotions or like kiss, hug, I love you, those kind of, even express it kind of thing, like you were saying with your father. So it's just like now we learn from our
I'm not
parents.
trying to interject here, but at least personally, my dad was never like a lovey-dovey guy, and my mom was, but she kind of stopped because my other siblings, y'all know my siblings, I mean, really don't like hugs. Samantha was like, ugh, and Becky same way. But I, to this day, and I will do it for the rest of my life, every time I walk in the house, even if my dad and I argue, by the way, we work together. He's my boss, so we argue. And I get home, the first thing I do, I put all my stuff down, my tools, my lunchbox, everything, and I walk over and I hug and I kiss my dad. Every day.
That's good, man. I think that, our parents get old and it's part of life. And I think that's one of the things that you'll look back at and you'll be proud that you did that.
Because I mean, if you see it from if you see it from the parent, I have yet to see it from the parent side. I know your lives completely changed. Whenever you guys had the kids, when you had your two beautiful daughters, when you had your Harmony and your two sons. I know your lives just. Like almost, I'd imagine it's like a part of you now is in that person, because that's literally you. She came from you, not he, she, they, them, but she came from you.
They basically become your whole life.
And I can see that, and I see how you guys treat, and I think being friends with you two, and now meeting you, Frankie. Well, we met before, but getting closer to you, I've learned to cherish my parents more. Because I see how you're with Harmony detrás de ella. You're like, Harmony, come here. I go over to his house pretty often. So he's like, Harmony, come here. And she's like, no, she's running away. And then he's got two daughters. One's running this way and the other one's pegada a su mom. And then she wants to come with Razo. And then how you're telling me with your sons, man. And I see that and I'm like, at least for me, to maybe somebody's my age or maybe your sons when they see it, that if they see it, you learn to appreciate that more. Because then I'm like, dang, if I'm a hard-headed guy now, how was I as a kid? Hey, mijo, stay there. I know my dad tells me all the time, my brother, le decía, siéntate. And he would sit down on the couch, and he would stay there for hours, even falling asleep. He'll tell me, sit down. I was in the kitchen 2 minutes later, And it's like, I mean, it's lost, man. It's lost. That love, that genuine connection. And I see it. I've seen it before. And personally, I've seen where the daughter or the son have resentment towards parents. I don't understand why. And I wanted to ask you, Pastor, how you were on that note. And I think it's important. I want to get it from everybody. How did you, starting with you, Pastor, how did your life change? Because you told me this before. Your life completely changed when you saw Harmony. What was that experience at the first sight of Harmony? What was that like?
It was, well, number one, it was just kind of like, this is the love, because of mine and Christina's love. Like, this is what came out. Created. And it was just kind of like, and I had to change my perspective because, I think even Christina, like, we wanted a boy at first. And like, oh, yeah, we want a boy, and I want a boy. I had him junior, of course. I wanted to see him watching the Cowboy games with me. And I was trying to buy him jerseys.
Drinking the soda, getting in the couch.
Like, I believe, like, when the prophet came and he spoke a word over us, like, there was it wasn't just the Harmony being born, but it was like, okay, like, we decided, like, we were trying so hard to have the perfect name for her. And we were like, okay, I think we tried to even do like Camila, and it was like, oh my God, like, what name are we going to come up with? And the Lord, like, dropped in my spirit, like, okay, Harmony. And like, at times, even in, leading up to Harmony being born, like, me and Christina had friction, but like, when Harmony came, like, there was so much, she put kind of like in between, she just smoothed so many things. And we know, like, in harmony, it means like perfect notes, like you're in symphony, perfect.
Yeah.
And so, like, when she came into our lives, like, it helped so many relationships, not just like spiritually with my relationship with God and our relationship with me and my wife, but also like family, like, because there were kind of like, there was a point in my life where I was just kind of pushing away from my sister, my mom, my dad, just because I was like, I was busy at church, being, the whole thing, just struggling with balance. But when Harmony came, like, those relationships with my parents, with my sister, with every relationship around me was just starting to improve and getting better. Yeah, make it better.
Yeah, it's putting everything out, aligning everything out.
Yeah, and so it was just so beautiful to see like what Harmony did, like coming into this life, not just for me, but like for relationships, for my family as well. So it was just beautiful to see like how God just organized, like ordained like everything to be perfect timing, you know, not even just with the name Harmony, but just how God just put everything into place to see it one by one. It's just beautiful.
Go, Frankie.
Now go ahead.
Real quick, because you said this and you said like people end up resenting their parents and stuff. One thing that I realized as I was growing older, and that helped me a lot, like sort of figure out like how to move forward in life with all of that, was your parents were also kids who weren't taught any better.
Yes.
You know, and whenever you humanize them, because like we look at our parents as like, we all put them up on a pedestal, right? But like when you humanize them as like, you were also a kid and you weren't taught, you know, like all these things, and now we're here where we are because of this. It's sort of like, it's like one of those first steps towards healing from that. That's always been in my heart, and that was like a big step towards like healing from a lot of it. But as far as like when Emilia came into our life, it was terrifying, man. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you to tell you that it was like this like
beautiful.
it was like this beautiful thing that was going on, and like we were so excited about it. But again, like to me, it's always been, you know, like, am I gonna be able to do good by her side? Am I gonna be able to provide her with the space that she needs to like express herself, to like, you know, just provide her the love that she needs? And so like it was just that was the thought that I had in my head, and it was like terrifying to be like, what if I'm not, you know, like what if I'm not gonna be good enough? What if I mess up? What if I drop the ball like long term or whatever, you know, like. But yeah, I mean, and when she was here, it was just kind of like, I just cried, you know, you just sort of cry out of like the emotion, and there's not much that you can do other than hold her, and you're just like, man, like, you're the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, I mean, it's healing. It's just one of those things that everybody should experience, you know, like having being able to hold their first kid. Yeah. And what about you, man?
To me, when my firstborn was born, it was chaotic.
Yeah.
Because she was already ready to go. You know, we were already in the delivery room. As a matter of fact, it was like this big. It was huge. I'm like, man, my insurance pays for this. I hope so.
I better not get no bill after this.
I'm telling you. And so, but then they were, you know, they were putting I get the heartbeat to see if the heartbeat was still going and everything. And then all of a sudden, you know, a nurse comes in and is checking for the heartbeat. And then she leaves, and then two nurses come in. And then after that, you know, they started moving stuff around. I'm like, okay, what's going on? And came to find out that he had stopped breathing. So imagine this, you know, you're ready, the delivery room. I was going to be able to see the delivery there and everything. And all of a sudden, from that picture to seeing my wife getting carried away with the nurse on top of her. Oh, wow. And with you know, the nurse on top of her, getting her ready for emergency C-section. Wow. So they literally, like, they got her from this room and took her away from me with like all these nurses, and like the nurse literally on top of the bed, you know, on top of it as they were rolling her. She was on top of the bed.
Was the baby suffocating?
The baby was suffocating.
With the...
No, it was, I guess he got nervous. He got nervous, and so he pooped. And so all of that is still in the bag. And so he started breathing it in. He started breathing it in. And so he stopped breathing. And so from that point on, you know, they
had to get him out.
They had to get him out. They had to get him out because they had to clean him out. All I did was just call my mom. You know, this is a 23-year-old guy, you know, Mom, this is, you know. And after I hung up, I just threw myself on my knees in front of the couch, and I just started praying. And once everything was done, you know, they were able to, you know, of course, they were with my kid. They had to clean him out, so he had to stay in the hospital for 2 more weeks. Oh, wow. So my wife and I left without my son. Wow. That was like the worst, man. That was the worst feeling. And I'm telling you, we would stay at the late as we could, and then be there as soon as they opened the doors, we were there again. Because, I mean, this was our kid. But once I had him in my hands, because we couldn't even put him in our hands there because he was getting cleaned out and stuff. I mean, they were trying to make sure that all the stuff in his lungs was out of it. But once I saw him, first of all, I knew he was a miracle.
Wow.
Second of all, this is, to me, it was a change of a generation. A generation. Usually every generation is always better. Every generation, the gloria en gloria. And that's what I saw in him. I saw him, this is a better everything. A better everything. And so from that point on, it's like he's going to get what I didn't have.
Wow.
He's going to get what I didn't have from everything. From the spiritual to the material to the, and of course I did that mistake, right? Because you want to give the kids everything you want. Ask me where all the collection of the cars are. Ask me where all the Transformers are at. You know, ask me where they had. They're gone. You know? Ask me how much. No, don't ask me how much.
Hey, that's another topic for another day.
But I think that was when my firstborn. That was it. You know, that was it. That it's like, and my second one, it was more like my generation. You know, my generation is growing. You know, it's multiplying. That was another blessing of that was another blessing there.
Wow.
So, I mean, to me, that's what it was, man. It's just two different experiences, and I wasn't able to see him get delivered either.
Really?
Yes, they had to take me out because she ordered for an emergency C-section.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, what? Well, it's okay, but no, we got to take you out. Like, so I didn't get to see them be born, but you know, I had that privilege to see him and be able to go through all that, man. That was chaotic, though.
Man, as we're talking about like our, you know, parents, family, I know we came from like a parent's kind of perspective, but you know, as well, like, you know, youth that are listening, young adults that are listening, like I really want to encourage you guys to cherish. We're talking briefly about it, like cherish your parents. Like now, because tomorrow is not promised. Like, you know, I feel like this generation is just with our cell phones, just kind of like, I'm going to my room and be on my phone, you know, be on social media all these hours. And like, you know, I feel like we've lost like to have a conversation at the dinner table, like to where everybody comes at 6, 7 o'clock at night. And, you know, we talk, hey, how was your day? Kind of like you were saying, like you guys were saying, like how like you were saying, like, hey, how was your day? How are you doing? How are you feeling? I feel like social media, you know, a bunch of like electronics have just kind of taken that away. But like, I want to encourage like young people, like really cherish your parents. Like whenever you're sit down, when you guys go out to eat on the road, when you got, you know, if you're going on vacation, like spend time with your parents as much as you can, because, you know, our parents are getting older. Like all of us, our parents are getting older. Like I'm cherishing my father, my mother even more, that they're getting older. And I'm like, man, I know like, you know, God is going to take them away, you know, in the future. But like, and I want to touch on this, and there's a reason why I'm bringing this up, because, and I want Pastor Frankie to share about this, because, you know, I know Pastor Frankie, like, your wife had passed away a couple of years ago, and I want you to just kind of briefly talk about like how has everything transitioned, you know, not just with you, but your sons, and what would you say to people who feel like, man, like, how did you just go through everything? Like, I just feel like, man, that is something that is just hard. I know when I think about it, I'm just like, man, that must have been hard, but you experiencing it, like, tell the people like your story, kind of a little bit about that.
So backtracking a little bit about that, in 2019, I got hit hard. Well, my family got hit hard with my dad. Mm-hmm. My dad got diagnosed with liver cancer, and it was stage 4 already. That's when everything started with my life, but my whole change of life. So when y'all saying treasure your parents, you know, take advantage of the time that you have with them, they're not lying. You know, take that advantage. Gracias a Dios, I was able to do that even before, you know, before he got real sick, man. I would go every weekend and I would go eat breakfast with him every weekend, and especially now that he was getting sick. You know, I was definitely there. I was there for his chemo. I was there when he got the news, you know, that the cancer had came back. You know, long story short, that he had a liver transplant because of that, and he had hepatitis C on that. So they took the liver out, thinking, you know, the cancer was out, and unfortunately it had came back, and it came back a lot more aggressive, and so he didn't. That was 2019, where he got diagnosed in, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, around August, September. Yeah. And then he passed away in 2021. And what the beautiful thing about this was, what's so beautiful about this, that he passed away on Resurrection Sunday.
Wow.
It was Resurrection Sunday when he passed away, and it was beautiful, man. It was beautiful because all his kids were around. And again, if you don't know my family, all my family are worshipers. I mean, except for one, he's a Marine. So the youngest one, he's a Marine, but everybody else knew how to play an instrument, knows how to play an instrument, or sings. And so I was holding his hand, and you can just see his life, just fading away.
Yeah.
And as soon as it was starting to fade away, we just started singing a worship song.
Wow.
We just started singing a worship song, and lo entregamos. We told God, here he is, and he went in a peaceful way that it was so beautiful, man. That we were crying, of course, right? But we were so much at peace.
Yeah.
We were so much at peace that when he left, and from that point on, everything started twisting with me. During that part, my wife started having issues with her stomach, with eating. She would eat and she would feel like it was like agruras, that heartburn or all that stuff. And so to the point that it got worse and worse and worse, to the point that everything she would eat, she would start throwing up. She would start throwing up.
Wow.
And so after, even though my wife was still petite, it was a petite woman, in less than 3 months, no, in less than a month and a half, you can see like a weight loss, like quick weight loss. I'm like, I know you're trying to lose weight, but not that quick. Slow down.
Yeah.
But it wasn't her. It was just a situation that she couldn't keep anything down. And so once we had we went to go see a doctor, and he said, we're gonna have to do a biopsy, see what's going on in there, maybe some ulcers. We thought it was ulcers, something that just just disturbing her and just making everything throw up. And soon as we did that and did the appointment, that's when COVID hit, and everything shut down. Everything shut down, so we couldn't do the biopsy.
Wow.
So we waited a whole month, and through that whole month, she just got worse. She got
Dang.
worse, and she got skinnier, and she got skinnier, and I mean, she was just throwing up and all the time. And so finally they opened up like the small surgeries, and I remember, right, the small surgeries and checkups and stuff. So we were one of the first ones to get an appointment, and they did that. And so then when we did that, we were waiting for the results. My dad passed away. 15 days later, we get the results, and they told him that she had stomach cancer. Stomach cancer, and we automatically, from that point on, we started reacting. We said, what do we got to do? What are we doing? And through all this time, man, like I said, I'm a very emotional guy. I was the one with all the tears, and she was like, okay, all right, God has everything under control. We're gonna fight this.
Wow.
We're gonna fight this. And so from that point on, we they were preparing her to get surgery. We're gonna have to do surgery. We're gonna have to remove pretty much. They said pretty much, not pretty much, the whole stomach. So so when they went inside her, they did the surgery. We thought it was, they didn't know how bad the cancer was. They went in there. They started doing the surgery. I was at home, because they said it's like, I think it was like an 8 hour surgery or something like that. And so I was at home, and they called me and said, we need you to come back. We need you to come back. I'm like, okay. And so I thought they were coming back and said, look, we're done, this, and that. And I'm like, that was quick. So I was thinking like, yes, it was something small. It wasn't that big as it. We came back, and he showed me pictures, and the cancer had already spread. So it automatically, it was a 4. It was a 4, the most aggressive. Those that know cancer, the 4 is the most aggressive cancer that there was. It went from her stomach, and it was all into her reproduction system.
Yeah.
And so instead of not only the stomach, they had to remove everything. The whole reproductive system, ovaries, vientre, everything.
Uterus.
Stomach, everything was removed. She went home with like a bag. I forgot, ostomy bag. It's an ostomy bag. So my wife couldn't eat anymore. She was able to drink, but it was really going down and right into the bag. So it's not like the body was taking the nutrients. So the only way that she was being able to be fed was that she had a vein, like a fake vein, I guess you can say, or a needle that goes through your veins and fed through a bag of nutrients. So a nutrient bag that she would get fed through, like a 11 hour, 14 hours that she would have to be connected to this, and so that would help her not even gain weight, to maintain weight,
Yeah.
you know, just to maintain weight. But they told us, you know, they kept on telling us, you know, it's not, you know, it's just pretty much we went straight to from the hospital and pretty much into hospice, you know, just maintain her, get her more comfortable, give her as much pain medicine as she needed, and just go from there. But man, you would see her, and when she felt good, we were at church, she felt good, and we went through chemos, and we finished chemos, and they said, okay, there's no more cells. We don't see any cells, no cancer cells. Like, okay, let's go, let's do this. God is doing the thing, you know. God is doing this thing, and remember what I'm saying is God is doing this thing, right? And so everything was good. This was during November, January of 2020. 2021 came around January. It was her birthday. The 14th of January was her birthday. We had a caravan. You know how everybody did the caravans and they had her happy birthday. And they brought her. I think that was the time they brought her mariachi, and they brought her, the church was awesome. That's one of the things, man. Our church family was off the hook, man. They just, the supporting, our family, my family, her family, the church family. I mean, it was awesome. And so the 14th came. She had her birthday. She loved it. And then 3 days later, she's from the ostomy bag, from the bag, she started, it was getting complicated. Wow. It was getting real complicated, so I had to run her back to the hospital. And long story short, we came back with 2 bags.
Dang.
So now she had 2 bags going on, and she got skinnier, and she started getting skinnier. Well, the point is, through all this time, and I want to lift this as a testimony, she never gave up.
Wow.
She never gave up. And so we made T-shirts because from the get-go, she said, giving up is not an option. She said that from the get-go. Giving up is not an option. Wow. And even before the birthday, and I forgot to say this, December, the women's had their conference. And she preached for the first time.
Wow.
She preached for the first time, gave a little bit of her testimony, brought in the word, for these women, and just God just moved in during that time. And then everything of this happened. But all through this time, she never gave up. Wow. She never gave up. She kept on going. She kept on fighting. She kept on fighting. And through all this, it was making me, whatever she felt, let's go, let's do this. It kept me going, it kept me going. And I understood that I had to be strong, because my boys were going to be, my boys are looking at me.
Yeah.
They were looking at my reaction. What is Dad doing? If Dad would have been out, they would have been out. If Dad would have been depressed, they would have been depressed. So I kept on going. I kept on fighting right along with her. We'd go to chemo's, we would go to treatments. Whatever it needed to happen, we would do it. And through all this time, you would never hear her say, "I'm done. I don't want this. I'm done." She would always say, "La voluntad de Dios." She came to the point. She's like, "Whatever God wants, va a ser buena, perfecta y agradable."
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
In other words, if I die, I die, but it's because God wanted it. And if I don't, it's because God didn't want it. But if I do go, it's because it was His perfect will. And so from that point on, she understood what was happening. She understood what was happening. And I was seeing all this. She was at home, and we didn't, no more hospitals, no more clinics, no more appointments. Everything is at home. I became a nurse. In other words, I became a nurse for was it the remaining of the 4 or 5 months that she was alive. And so from that point on, she was always fighting. She would always, yes, let's go, this. And I remember one time in March before she everything, her health started coming down. We had a worship session. I'm a worshiper. My boys are praise and worship. My family, but we brought the praise band because she was part of the praise and worship band too. So we brought the praise band, and I said I made sure that I talked to one of the guys. I was like, I want to record this. I want to record this session. I want to record this moment. And we did, man. And she sang with us, and she was praising God with us. And, at first she didn't want to get up. She didn't want to get up. She was in her bed. She knew everybody was in the living room. We had everything getting ready. And she gets kind of mad at me because if we do we used to do Facebook Lives and stuff like that. And I'll do the whole setup, man. I got my mixer. I got everything. I got monitors going. And like, can we just get the piano and just start? No, we need mics. And I would set up mics and stuff
We
like
need
that.
sound.
Yes. And Sammy, you're playing the drums. Dad, no, you're playing the drums. So we did that setup. And she heard, and, you know, she didn't want to get up from bed. And so we all went and we took 2 guitars to the bedroom. And did a little worship session there. And she's like, you know what? Let's go to the living room. Let's go to the living room. And we went to the living room and we sang a couple of songs that she would lead us to. She was lead us with and at church. Man. And we still have the recordings, you know, we still, you know, I have them for my boys especially. I did all of this, you know, to keep the memory alive and especially for my boys.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so when everything happened, everything changed. You know, people don't understand how people, when you lose a loved one, especially your partner, you know, that she was my partner for 18 years.
Wow.
For 18 years, your life is not the same. It's not, and it can't be.
Yeah.
It can't be the same. But the difference between me and I guess other people, because they ask the question, how could you? How would you? Because, yes, my life changed, but I understood the will of God. Was I at peace? Yes. Did I cry? Yes, I cried a lot. Was I hurt? I was hurt. But the pick me up, I guess it was, you know, the strength that I had was because of God. And people would ask me, Frank, because she passed away on May 30th of 2021, and by October, November, I was already working at church. I was already getting into church, and I was getting into, like, first of all, they're like, how can you do this? I'm like, well, first of all, my life has always been church.
Yeah.
You know, my life has always been, I've always worked at church. It's not nothing different. I mean, to me, it's like not being there is like part of my life, you know, not being there.
Yeah.
So I got into, you know, things in church. You know, I started working and I started, you know, bringing the word. And on our special, on Wednesdays, we do a Facebook Live. We would do a Facebook Live, and I started bringing the word for the first time there. You know, I started moving, you know, I started reacting, I started doing, but, you know, people started asking, why is he smiling? Why is he singing at church already? If it was me, man, it would be like 2 years before I even think about it. But you know what? This is the man side of me, I guess you can say. That one of the reasons that I was able to cope the way I coped, and I was able to, I don't want to say get over it. I don't know what the right word is, but to be able to
reconcile.
Reconcile.
Be at peace.
Be at peace with it. Is that I didn't have any regrets. I didn't have any regrets. I can honestly stand here and tell you that when I said through thick and thin, through rich and poor, through sick and health, I did it.
Meant it.
Yeah.
You know, I meant it and I did it because that's who I am. And so when everything happened and everything, she passed away, it's like, you know, I did what I was supposed to do. Yo cumplí hasta el final. And I feel safe and I feel at peace saying that, because for the biggest reason, and the biggest reason is for my boys. That my boys can say my dad loved my mom to the end.
Yeah.
My dad made her and treated her as the queen.
That's so
that she
important,
was.
man.
And you know, and there's nothing that I can say, man, guys, if there's something that I could have told her, man, guys, if there's something, it was like 3 weeks or about a month before she really had a letdown health-wise. You know, she wanted to go to the beach for the last time. She said that on a Saturday.
Y'all left.
And guess where we were on a Monday?
Oh,
Man, on a Monday, Dad, are we going to school? No, you're not going to school. All right, no. We took her side of the family. It was like 20-something of us.
Wow.
We went out there. Unfortunately, because of the weather,
You couldn't get on the
we
beach.
couldn't get her. But I got that truck as close as I can get it to the beach.
Wow.
You know, and she was able to see the ocean. She was able to see the waves. She was able to be there. You know, the boys took pictures as she was inside the truck, but they were able to take pictures as her there. And like, hey, whatever she needed and whatever she wanted, you know, I was always, if I could do it, I would do it.
a man of your word.
And she would know exactly. And so at that point, like, that's one of the reasons that I can get up and say God has been so good. That's the reason to say I'm at peace. That's the reason that when around my birthday, you know, I closed a chapter in my life. I closed a chapter in my life saying, you know, okay, this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is who I am now. You know, this is what my family is. Now, my life changed completely. And then we had to hit the first Christmas, first Thanksgivings, first New Year's, first birthdays of my boys. You know, and all this had to go. You know, and we had to go through it. You know, we had to go through it. But me personally, I lived a season in my life in the month of January of this year that it was the hardest one. Even when she passed away, you know, you would think that was the hardest part of my life. The hardest one was in January. In January, I spent like 2 to 3 weeks thrown on the floor, crying, weeping, yelling, mad, frustrated. I mean, you name it, I went through all of it. Through all the emotions, through all the feelings, until I finally said, okay, God. What was I fighting? I was fighting my new life. I'm not the married Frank anymore. And people that know me, I'm a family guy. I always wanted to be married. I always wanted to have kids. I always wanted to have that partner, you know, that partner, grandma, ride or die, you know. I've always wanted it.
Yeah.
So now that I didn't have it, I had to understand you're not the married Frank anymore. You're not Frank the husband. You're not Frankie the husband. I had to die Frankie the husband and understand that I am the widower, single parent, Frankie. And so finally, I confronted God.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, what? Jacob did it. Why can't I do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey. I mean, and so I confronted God and I said, you know what? I didn't ask you to take her away from me. I never said that I wanted to be single again. I never wanted this. But I have to understand that if this is your will, I have to accept it. So I literally threw myself on the floor and I said, here I am. Here I am. I got you. I understand. You want me in this season? Okay, let's go. But I need you with me. I said, I'm not and I can't do this without you. I straight up told him, I can't do this without you. I need you in it. I need you in it. And that's when everything started changing. Everything in my life started changing, and I started having more peace than ever. I got interviewed on the radio. Right after 2 weeks after I did that, they called me up. Hey, Frank, you know, we saw, you know, I do covers once in a while. I do covers and I post them and stuff like that. You know, we see, you know, you're a worshiper and stuff. We want to just come and get the talent, local talent to come around and stuff like that. And they knew my situation too, and so they wanted to, you know, touch a little bit about that. And I went there, and then they opened up the radio. You know, hey man, we're looking for, you know, DJs or hosts, radio hosts and stuff like. And everything started falling into place, into where I was supposed to be at, and into what I was supposed to do. And I was a door open for me to go to Chicago and minister to men. You know, to talk to men. And we were out there for the weekend, and God moved, and everything to this point now has been a change. It is different. You know, it is different from the financial point to the way of life. Your schedule, it's crazy. Your schedule is completely crazy. Like I said, I have 2 active boys. One's a musician, and another one is an athlete. Is a soccer player. So they're always having schedules. And then my life, you know, it's not like a laid back kind of life. You know, y'all were asking me before the show. You know, it's like so man, the hours that you work, man. So you must be going to sleep at 9 o'clock at night. I wish I was falling asleep at 9 o'clock at night. Like, no, everything has changed, man. Everything is just different. But in all aspects, God has everything under control. Everything.
Wow. So I would ask you, Pastor Frank, what would you tell somebody that kind of they maybe have been in that same situation? It could have been maybe a father and mother, grandfather, grandpa, grandma, that they were, you know, I guess you could say like blaming God. Like, you know, if God is a miracle working God, if God is a healing God, like they're blaming God and God ended up, they ended up passing away, their loved one. What would you say to somebody that I guess is still pointing the finger at God and still hasn't forgiven God?
And to that point, I think if anything, they love God the way they say they do, and they believe God and they have faith in God, they have to understand that we have a sovereign God. A sovereign God that when it's time, it's time.
Yeah.
And yes, there was a time that I confronted him. I never questioned him. And even though it's good to question, I mean, the human being will question God. They're going to question, there's nothing wrong with that. But one thing that I said, I remember I was in my living room, because one thing that I did, through all my coping and stuff like that I had to get rid of everything in my bedroom, not my living room, my bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
I got rid of everything, and I sat by myself, just looking in my bedroom, and I told God, why not me? Why wasn't it me? It's like she was the one going to the gym. She was the one, looking, always taking care of the way she ate, and taking care of the salads. She was the one trying to feed me those salads, and she was the one trying. And me, I was knocking at the door of diabetes. I was like gaining weight like crazy, and I told him, why not me? I was the more sick one. Than her. And as I sit there, he gave me one thing, and he told me, and look, man, it's just gonna be probably not understandable for some people, but even Jesus said it when he had to die on the cross. It was necessary. Era necesario.
Yeah.
And I had to understand that.
Yeah.
Number two, the way you cope and the way you stop doubting God and blaming God. Why? It's because when God decided to take Jesus from this earth, it's because his purpose in earth was completed.
Yeah,
it was done.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
So to that point, I understood that the purpose of my wife was done. It was done. Even the purpose, what she did in me, what she did in church, what she did with the youth, what she did with the woman, what she did in her kids, that was as far as God wanted it. That's how far, you ya cumpliste.
Yeah.
You have done what you needed to do. Now it was time. The whys, you will never understand it to the point that he has to start living. You have to start living. And trust me, guys, now that I'm where I'm at, what I'm living now, I can see a lot of things that the whys or the reasons of why everything happens. People won't understand it. People won't see it that way unless you spiritually understand God's sovereignty. ¿Cómo se dice? La soberanía de Dios.
God's sovereignty.
And understanding the will of God. And the biggest one for me is the purpose that God still has you here for. So you could start seeing everything. And if there's anything, if you're still blaming God and you say, why God? I guess as parents would say, why not? You see what I'm saying? Why not?
Yeah.
And a lot of people that I think that asking the whys, and why was he so mean, and why didn't he heal her? Because of that, they probably have regrets.
Yeah.
They probably, if I would have had a little bit of more time, if I could have spent a little bit of more time, and if I could, but if they would understand the soberanía de Dios and the will of God, I think they would bring peace. It would bring peace to their lives. It would bring peace to their hearts, and saying, okay, God, you decided, and I have just to trust you. I just have to trust you in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I went through all those steps, man. I went through those steps, and I don't know if y'all have another question.
No, man, that was it, man.
Because through all this, there was 3 things that I wanted to share with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
And within the process of this, that I stood up and I said, okay, God, you know that I'm a family man. You know that I want my partner. I wanted to stay with my partner. a mí me gusta consentir.
Mm.
You know, I'm just that kind of guy. You know, I'm not saying that I'm the best guy or the gentleman or whatever, but I try to do my best.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've taught that. I was taught that, and I wanted to be that, you know. And I told him, what are you going to do now? What am I going to do now? You know, I'm with my kids, I'm alone. I'm like, what's the deal now? The first thing that he told me, and this is what I share with the singles, it says, look for me first. Seek the kingdom of God first. And everything else
shall follow.
Everything else. Seek me. Seek me. I'm like, God, I've been doing that all my life. Okay, then continue to seek me.
Yeah.
I said, okay. Second thing that he showed me months later says, love me with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul. Con todo. Con todo. Love me. Love me with the passion. And one thing that I learned being a family and being as I was married is that if you fall in love with God and your relationship is strong with God, you will learn how to love your wife and how to love your kids the way He wants you to love them. And believe me, because there was one thing that I was always say, you know, and it's the opposite way. You know, if God ever took me and it was His purpose for me to leave this earth, I want my kids and my wife to stand up and say, He loved us.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? He loved us. And there was, y que no hubiera ninguna duda.
Yeah.
There was no doubt, you know, that I loved them. And so that's the second thing that God told me. Love me with all your heart, your mind, and soul. Live your life this way. And at the end, the third one was the one kind of more an explanation to me, which was the third one that I just said, you know, era necesario. It was why I'm starting to see it throughout my life now. When I decided, okay, I'm a single, I'm a widower, I'm gonna be a single dad, and I'm gonna live life, and I'm gonna try to figure this thing out, you know, because this ain't easy. It isn't easy. I'm not gonna say that it's easy. It's not. It's hard. It's hard trying to juggle 3 schedules and trying to juggle you know, the what's it called, the ministry, and trying to juggle your secular job, and trying to open up a podcast and trying to
a radio
show and work with everything that I do within the church, and even your personal life. You know, and trying to juggle your personal life, you know, it's not easy. But at the end of the day, when I'm doing this now and looking for God every day, even more than I used to, and you know, and loving Him more than I used to, talking about Him and reaching other people and stuff like that, you know, at the end of the day, I can sleep, and I can sleep in peace, and I can wake up knowing that God's gonna want to give me the strength. He's gonna be the one that's gonna give me the strategy. He's gonna be the one that's gonna open doors. He's gonna be the one that's gonna give me the peace. That's gonna give me the, you know, down the different seasons that I'm living.
Absolutely.
You know, and He's gonna be in charge of that. And, you know, and so when we going through that, you know, it was to a point now that now my life now to what's it called, to para acabar, you know, as preachers, man, decimos ya para terminar, we gotta say it 5 times before.
Now, Pastor Adams is, I'm gonna land the plane.
Every time.
I got them from Pastor Braggs.
and then they translate it, and it's like, para aterrizar el avión.
Ya para aterrizar.
Para aterrizar. Well, I'm kind of one that va a aterrizar and is gonna go right back up. No, but to finish things up, you know, right now in my life now, the season that I'm living in, it's one of the, you know, it has become one of the best seasons that I've been living. It has become one of the best seasons. You know, people, God has put the right people in my life, the correct people in my life for this time of my life. You know, my boys are enjoying this time of life. I talk to them all the time, you know, and one of the things that my oldest son said, because I, you know, like I said, I talk to them, and I try to talk to them separately and stuff like that. And I tell him that, son, how do you see this? It's like, Dad, right now, you know, I see it as a building stage. So we're building, so for the next season of our lives, we enjoy
what we built.
We're building. That we can enjoy. This is my 17-year-old. Look, in the life of my 17-year-old, how he saw all of this, you would be mind blown. And it is a whole different podcast. The way he saw everything, you know, the way he saw the death of his mom and stuff like that, and a way of thinking. My gosh, I'm like, he was ministering my life, you know. But there's one of the things that he said, you know, Dad, right now, it's like we're building. He's like, we're not rebuilding. He says, we're building something new so the next season we can enjoy it.
Wow.
And so that's what we're doing.
Wow.
You know, we're at a point of our lives, you know, that we're building. We're building. And so to the point that season, the next season is going to come up. And we're gonna enjoy it, man. We're gonna enjoy that life. So no. Man. So right now, if anybody thinks, "Oh, pobrecito," is like, I was never pobrecito.
Wow.
I was never feeling bad for myself.
Yeah.
You know, yes, I found myself sometimes feeling alone, and yes, sometimes you want to battle that. You know, in want to do things rápido. You know, you want a different change. You want it, but if you give God the chance to deal with you, and you give God the chance to mold you, now I'm in my life where now I'm preparing myself to be the best version that I can be.
Yeah.
And that's what we're teaching the singles.
Yeah.
Be the best version you can be first for the kingdom. You first be the best version you can be for the kingdom. And second, you're going to be the best version when that time comes. You know, when God presents somebody in your life and you know you're going to be the best version that for the girls, you know, he or the she's going to be. You know, and again, we're looking for the compliment, not the what? Not the complaint.
Not the complaint. Yeah, you tell me that.
You
Yeah.
know, the single people, I tell them.
Yeah,
look,
Dominic
man,
was like,
I said, you want to always look for the compliment, be a compliment and not a complaint for your.
That's
so
right.
how do you become being a best version that you can be in God, and then from there on, you know. So right now, man, we're enjoying this part. We're enjoying this season. I got marching band going. I got soccer games we're going. We're doing praise and worship stuff. We're doing church stuff. And you know, it's just an awesome moment now.
Yeah, man.
We're having fun. We're having fun.
Man, that's awesome, man. That alone, man. That story alone, just like I remember, you know, I remember actually the first time I saw you after everything had happened, and you were sitting down, and your brother was cutting your hair, and I walked in, and I just remember, like, you don't even know, but you were like starting ministering to me, just like, hey, like Adam, every chance you get, like, hey, hug your wife, like, you know, tomorrow's not promised, and that right there just like ministered to me, because it was like, man, like, I can only imagine, like, man, like everything that, you know, that you had to go through, everything that had to pass. But like you said, it was, you know, the will of God. And it was like, man, when you find peace in that, like, you know, God knew what he was doing the whole time. And you know, I just, man, that story right there is just like, was a blessing to me. And I know a blessing to us. And, you know, I know it's going to bless all our viewers that are, you know, I just love, you know, kind of what God does. Like last week, it was all like, you know, fun and friendship, and this episode it was like serious and like, you know, like
you
to
know,
the heart.
And then when it comes to that, because you're talking about death, you know, we're talking about relationships, you know, I'm talking about a loved one, you know, not only a loved one, but this is, you know, your partner,
sure.
And you're there, y'all married, you know, y'all can't even.
It's like,
no, man, I wouldn't know what to do. And I don't desire for anybody, man. No se lo deseo a nadie, you know, but you that about to, you know, you're getting to that point, you know. Yes. If there's anything that I can tell you about a relationship, is that in rich or poor, always make sure she feels like the queen that she is. Tengas dinero, no tengas dinero.
Yeah.
You have the big house or you have an apartment. Make sure that she's walking like the queen that she is, because that's on us.
Yeah.
It's not what you have.
Yeah.
It's not what you can give her. It's but the way you treat her. That she can walk. Even when she has chanclas on, she's walking like the queen because she knows who she is. And she knows who she got beside her.
Wow.
So that's something huge, man, that I can tell y'all.
Before we land the plane and close out,
I told y'all.
I just wanted to say, and I know I can speak for audience of one here. We share the same sentiment. I'd imagine. We have huge admiration for you, man. Like it's very it's fascinating to see such peace coming from someone who lost their other half. And I know that not every day is an easy day, and I know like you mentioned, your January wasn't the best, but bro, I'm proud of you. We're proud of you, and I know if your wife could speak to you from heaven right now, she would tell you that she is super proud of you, and you're doing a spectacular job, bro. And keep it up. And I look up to you. We look up to you, and I'm sure our viewers are going to look up to you. And your testimony will be a blessing to thousands, even millions.
For sure.
It's just for His glory, you know. He has me here for a reason, so that's one of the things. And if, like you were telling me about people that are dealing with it, you know, trust me, this is the way I see it. There's gonna be your hard days, you know. My hard days were hard, but then you're gonna have your harder moments, and then from the moments you'll have those small episodes. But eventually God will heal.
That's right.
Eventually God will give you the peace and will give you that. And eventually you will smile again. You will smile. I promise.
Yeah.
I promise.
Yeah. No, but man, we thank you, man, for joining us on this episode. Tell the people, man, where they can find you. I know Saturday mornings you're on the radio.
Madrugados, baby.
Yes, let's go.
Tell people,
So listen, you can see us every Saturday. You can listen to us every Saturday. It's called Madrugados with Flor and Frankie. Flor's she's become one of my best friends. You know, we've done radio together. We're doing singles together. We're doing children's church. We're just working, man. So we get in each other's nerves sometimes. So she's from South Grand Prairie, so y'all must understand.
That's the problem.
You know, but I love her. You know, she's awesome. She's an awesome person. But we're there every Saturday mornings from 6 to 10. 95.5. Oh man, it's got tits.
Wow, open up a second radio set. Come on, somebody.
95.5 FM, NV Radio. Y'all can download the app also, NV Radio 95.5. Find us in Facebook at 95.5. And if y'all want to follow me, I'm just Frankie Delgado on both Instagram and Facebook. Frankie Delgado. You know, y'all can follow me there. You know, we're trying to pick up the podcast again, hopefully, God willing, mid-November. Y'all look for us. Actually, we have the Instagram too and Facebook. It's called Let's Be Frank with Frank.
That's a dope. That's tight.
Let's Be Frank with Frank. You know, it's going to come up. You know, we're working on that too. So hopefully we have y'all over there. Have y'all, as guests. And just working, man, just doing so y'all can follow me there. And TikTok, I think I'm under Javier Delgado. I don't know.
Man's got different names.
I'm telling you, man, I'm everywhere. But yeah, man, once again, man, thanks, bro. Thanks for inviting me.
Or if y'all got kids, that need to teach some.
Yes. I also got a music school. That's right. Thank you for reminding me. We're teaching drums. We're teaching bass, drums, bass, piano, guitar, electric guitar. We're there. It's on One True Music and Instagram, One True Music Studios. And so just send us a DM, let us know, or send these guys a message, and they'll get with me. We're teaching his private lessons right now, you know, and yeah, man,
that's awesome, man.
We're teaching worshipers, man.
So I want to clear something up with you, man. The second episode we came on here, we talked music, bro.
Oh yeah.
So we talked music. We made our list.
Changed, by the way.
We made our list of our top five greatest of all time artists. Right. So this is greatest of all time. The GOATs.
Christian.
The GOAT.
Christian.
Conversation.
Yeah,
Christian.
Okay.
Tupac and Biggie.
I'm curious to know your top 5 list, bro, because you're a musician. You grew up in church. You've been around music long enough to have a pretty good list.
He was ready. He wrote it down.
My top 5.
So I didn't know
artists or albums.
Artists. Yeah.
I'm looking because I had talked to Adam about it. Like, bro,
Right.
What's wrong with Sebas?
Hater alert.
Sebastian want to change his list.
I'm changing my list though. Just say that.
Let me see if I can find
I just thought of a meme, bro.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to do a new episode with the refreshers.
There's this meme that's like, perdónenlo, son las drogas.
So I gave him 2 lists, okay? I gave him 2
Here
lists.
we go.
The thing is that we have to understand, well, our trayectoria, you know, we've been in this forever.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, since we were kids, we knew a lot of artists and stuff like that. So all time, my list all time.
Yeah.
Oh, santo.
The number 5,
yeah.
Michael W. Smith.
Okay.
Number 4.
That's refreshing.
Number 4, Hillsong.
Okay.
Number 3, Torre Fuerte.
I like it.
Yeah, I was
Number two, Marcos Witt.
Okay. What?
And number 1 to me, Israel Houghton.
Oh, okay.
I like it. I like it.
Respect.
Right now, though, I got right now.
Oh snap! Okay.
Right now, my list right now, like if there was an all-time right now, number 5 it would be Elevation.
Okay, they're banger.
Okay.
Elevation. Number 4, Miel San Marcos.
Okay.
Okay. Number 3, Ty Trippett.
Oh, Ty Trippett.
Ty Trippett. If
bad.
y'all don't know who Ty Trippett, y'all need to listen.
Yeah, no, bro, I'm gonna go listen to him.
Okay.
Though.
Ty Trippett, yeah, he's bad.
Number 2, Israel Houghton.
Okay.
Yeah,
And number 1, it might have to change now, Maverick City.
He's a good man. Let's bring him back on next episode.
Is cancel culture of the church? Is cancel culture a godly thing? Like, because I never thought that we'd see cancel culture inside of church, but like sort of. I think that cancel culture sort of happened.
You get set down. Yeah, you get sat down for
You get sat
discipline.
down.
We used to get sat down, yeah.
I got sat down a couple times.
For what again? What was the word?
Cancel culture. But I can't. But I mean, being sat down. I mean, yeah. I guess it was being sat down. It wasn't like he was like completely canceled, right?
He wasn't canceled, no.
Disciplina.
Yeah, he's on the disciplina.
Going through a process.
Yeah. I mean, hey, but what he's referring to is the Dante Bowe
Yeah.
situation with him being sat down to being on pause. I personally think it's great because it teaches, and I'm glad that he's come out and said, I know that I've messed up and I need some time. It's great. It shows a lot of maturity,
accountability,
absolutely,
understanding who's seeing you and who connects with you. You know?
Yeah.
And it's also important to always know you got to protect your testimony because that's
For sure.
Wait, so can we listen to bangers of the world or not? Good question. Let's be real. This is our table talk. What do we say?
Frank, we're going.
So what are we referring to?
I mean, I think, dang, we're really going up and down now. But just to close, what did I say? The hot topic? What is that?
Yeah,
what I
you
said?
said, can we listen to music?
Good
of
to
this
bangers.
world?
Like, what's your take? What's your take on secular music?
Secular music to me. All right, listen. It might not be a big. I mean, it might be. It is one of the biggest controversial.
It's a big
Yeah,
controversial
I think
thing,
so.
bro.
And so this is me speaking my. Podcast has nothing to do with their. We don't reflect the opinions of our guests.
We're not in association with Frankie J.
Can y'all put it down here? We
are
do not reflect the opinions of Pastor Frank. Okay?
We're about to pause our professional relationship.
Somebody's gonna get sat down today.
Make sure my pastor's not seeing me.
Yeah. Sorry, Pastor.
Okay, so this is how my personal opinion, my convictions. I think your convictions had to do a lot with it.
Yeah.
And knowing where you stand.
Yeah.
One of the things in my past life, I was a Tejano. I want to say artist. A Tejano. I played Tejano. I was in the Tejano band. So I was in all that realm, I guess you can say, that atmosphere, that that secular music, going at it and stuff like that. But the difference between me being there is that I was actually trying to live what I was singing. I was trying to act out, and I was trying to make sure I was letting music affect the way I lived.
Yeah.
I was letting music affect the way that I want to feel. I feel depressed, man. I'm putting mass in there, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm saying,
Put some rake.
I was about to start singing, but I'm like, no, I don't want to.
Bring back memories.
I want to get energized. I want to go at Three Doors Down or Limp Bizkit or whatever.
Skillet.
Skillet. No.
Corn.
I listen to Skillet.
Corn. And I would go into
dang.
that. I want to feel like thuggish, I want to feel like, you got Cypress Hill and you had, all this.
Damn, even Cypress Hill.
I would
Golly.
go into deep, I wanted to get even madder. You talking
Rest in
about
peace, Coolio.
Marilyn Manson and Metallica, and you get into it, and but the crazy thing about me is that I would get into it.
You would live what you were
live
singing.
what I was singing, and I would live what I was listening to.
Yeah.
And so that the point of my life when I literally had to be liberated from that. I literally had to be liberated from that. And so from that point on, I stayed away from the secular music because that was a weakness.
Yeah.
Everybody said, no, and again, there were some people that their weakness was drugs. Their weakness was girls. Their weakness was beer, alcohol. My weakness was music. And people don't understand the power that the music brings, the power that it has, the influence, everything.
Real quick, one of those biggest influence that I've seen over the last couple of years is hip hop music. When it starts talking about like gang violence and stuff like that, and all of a sudden everybody wants to be a gang member.
Everybody wants to own a
start
gun.
shooting.
Everybody
Yeah,
wants to
bro.
be
Like,
there.
yeah.
And when they actually confront the real gangs, they're like, oh, never
Oh
mind.
no, I don't gangbang. I don't gangbang.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
okay. Yeah,
so
all right.
so
Put your flag
music
away.
brings that. So after that, I stayed away from secular music for a very long time. I'm talking about years.
Yeah.
Years. Now, nowadays, now that I have a son, they're growing up. I have a musician. He's a drummer. He's into music. He's actually an old soul.
Mm.
He's into jazz. He's
Oh,
into
yeah.
blues. He's into, and look, again, this does not reflect the opinion. This reflects my opinion. One of his favorite artists is Michael Jackson.
Mm.
Oh wow,
It's Michael Jackson.
he's a banger
Yeah.
too.
And he listens to him, and he musically wise, he's like, Dad, how can this person
Create this.
create
Yeah,
this
yeah.
at his time?
Mm.
Yeah.
He was
at
way
his
ahead of his
Yeah,
time.
Oh,
way
yeah.
ahead of his time.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
like,
for
Dad,
sure.
he's like, and when the Elvis Presley song came, movie
Oh, the
came
movie
out,
came out, yeah.
Dad, I want to go see
Oh,
it.
no.
I want to be there. We've seen those movies, what was it? Richie.
Richie
Valens.
Valens.
Richie
Yeah.
Valens.
La
yeah.
Bamba, every music, every
Ray
movie that comes out,
Charles,
Ray
yeah.
Charles,
Yeah.
all
James
of
we
these,
saw that one. Yeah,
James Brown.
James Brown, all of these he sees. And now, at my house, he has, I want to say, he don't have the CDs, he has the record.
Oh, yeah.
He has records of these artists.
Wow.
An original James Brown, 19,
wow.
I don't know what
Damn.
it is, he
54.
has it, he has it. And we listen to it.
Yeah.
I listen to it. I listen to secular music, but this is the thing though, it doesn't have the same effect that it
did
used to
then. That's right.
back then.
Yeah.
I don't live it. I don't agree with it, but being a musician, the sound,
appreciate the
rhythms, I
music.
appreciate the music.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I do not listen to rap.
Yeah.
Crappy rap.
We were just talking about that. No
Yeah,
mumble
we-
rapping.
yeah,
Yeah. If you don't understand what if all they're
Lil
talking
baby.
about is
He's nice,
girls,
though.
drugs, parties, I'm not listening to it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And now there is good rap. You have to go to the 90s when we grew up.
Tupac.
Dang.
Exactly. It's like
Tupac
you go back to the
Shakur.
90s
Eminem.
when they were actually listen, they were actually
Bro.
rapping life events. They were actually rapping about life.
Yeah.
That stuff that you can actually relate
They were
to.
lyricists. They were storytellers.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were a story, exactly. So, in my perspective, listening to secular music, to me, it's like going to a movies and watching a secular movie.
Mhm.
I'm there with you because I think that one of the things is I'm fascinated with music.
Yes.
I listen at the end of the year. Spotify gives you how much minutes you listen to. I was like in like 80,000 like minutes of music. Like bro, like music is on all the time. Like
That's crazy.
from all genres, like country,
Yes.
hip hop. So then there's this thing where it's just like, to me, music is an art, sometimes I think about it like, okay, like, was Picasso Christian? Like if you're an artist and like the
Exactly,
type of
yeah,
art
yeah.
that you love
Yeah.
is like, like sculptures or whatever, like it was Michelangelo, like was he doing it for God? Like, are we gonna sit here and all of a sudden say that he was like satanic or that he was like this or that? Like, are we like, we're so quick to like, if it's not for God, then it's against God, and sometimes it's just like,
The Bible says that though.
does it?
But when it says, also, I think that we take it out of perspective, or maybe even out of context, when it says you're you're in the world, but you're not supposed to be part of the world.
Yeah.
And so they count that, eres parte del mundo. Look at what you're doing.
And I do get some stuff because I do get like right now, one of the big conversations like in the group chat has been Bad Bunny, and it's been not and it was before the Dante thing happened.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like,
All right, I just gotta say it.
Literally, it was before it happened. And so what I was telling the guys was that, I used to listen to him a lot.
Yeah.
Like if I'm keeping it 100, like I listen to him a lot.
Yeah.
And as I've gotten closer to God, my listening time to him has
Exactly. Yes.
and
Your
like
convictions.
yeah, and it hasn't even been like I don't sit here and I'm not like, oh, he's satanic. It's just like I just don't feel the need to listen to him right now. But if you catch me at the gym and I throw my workout playlist on, like there's a song or there in two of them, but I'm not like sitting here like paying attention to them. I'm at the gym, like I'm just like my mind is somewhere else, but just the music is in the background and the workout playlist that I have.
Yeah.
There's not one single.
Yeah, because you're not living what you're.
Yeah.
Get up. Well, I don't even know what he's saying half the time. I mean, come on. What are you gonna be living? Yeah, no. You know, I mean, it's all about your will. To me, it's
Exactly.
like how strong are you in your foundation with God?
Yes.
Because it's either you influence or you're influenced.
And so today I came across a playlist, and it was a Christian rap playlist, and it was a song by Triple E, and he was featuring somebody.
Triple E's my boy.
I swore
boy.
I was listening to Travis Scott. I thought I was like the song was playing, and I wasn't paying attention to the lyrics. I was just like the way that he was singing the melody, the way that
It's lit.
the
Oh, they
bro,
got the same
literally
producer, I think.
the ad libs that he was doing with
It
the
sounded
reverb,
like him?
it sounded like Travis Scott.
There's another rapper, a Christian rapper that sounds like Eminem.
Is there? Oh,
Yeah.
NF.
Yeah,
Yeah.
NF.
NF. He's probably
And
NF.
I was listening to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
rhythm, the cadence.
Yeah.
the cadence that
He
was saying,
has
and I'm
Eminem
like,
cadence.
Did he say God?
Yeah.
What did Eminem like? No. And then I was like, you know,
Actually, Eminem
Oh,
did
yeah,
rap about
Eminem
God.
did.
Yeah, y'all saw that? That was good
It
too.
was trash.
Razo
you know,
just don't like
and
Eminem.
I think you can see a lot of like Sebastian said, you know, where your convictions are and your will. You know how strong you're. Like I said, when I got away from it, because I knew if I got into it, I probably would have ended up in another band.
Knowing your weakness,
You know,
absolutely.
exactly. I would have ended up
for
being
sure.
in another band. I would have ended up even already married. You know, I saw a point in my life, you know, that I was financially not, you know, struggling, and to the point like, you know what, if I get a band together, and for the weekend, if I can just play Friday and Saturday,
You'll get some extra cash.
I'll be good.
Yeah.
You know, even to that point, you know, that you even at that. But then I stand back, you know, Holy Spirit, bow, boy,
You better get
are
back
you
in
listening
line.
to what you're talking, what you're saying, you know. And so I come back up. But even at that, you know where you stand, and I think that goes for everything. I think that goes in every aspect of your life, where you stand, what convictions do you have. Because I can say the same thing about tattoos. You know, where do we stand about tattoos? Where do we stand about that? You know, I have no issue with it. You know, because you know where you stand with God, and God knows where you stand with Him. So you see what I'm saying? Now, if you te estás poniendo calaveras and, you know, doing things, okay,
Half naked women. I see so many guys get half naked women.
Exactly. Well, that's how God's creation.
That's the body God created,
Exactly.
Even the garden.
regarding music, again, it's like, you know, where you stand. To me, I don't know if you know who Alvaro Lopez is, a drummer. He's
The Toro Fuerte, yeah.
a big drummer. Well, one time we had him over to our church, and he talked about secular music, and he went to the point, you know, at that time, he's like, well, if you really think about it, where do you find the best music? If you really want to be inspired, if you really want to listen to good music, you weren't, well, back then, now it's getting better, but back then, like, you're not going to find it in Christian artists.
But then, like, with that same conversation, I mean, you said right now it's getting better, but the reality is that we're just mimicking, like, that Christian music is, well, like, not Maverick City, but when I said, you know, I made that comment about listening to him and thinking that it was Travis Scott, because I sat here and I was like, this song right now is having the same effect as if I listened to Travis Scott. You know, like, it has no different effect for me.
But I was gonna say though,
like,
with that in your head. Go ahead. Well, I was gonna say, without you even listening to it, you're always listening to it. Yeah. And I learned that a while back, because I was like I was real, like, frustrated, and I was quick tempered, and I was angry, and it's because I was listening to secular music, and I didn't think about it. I was like, I'm just going on a run, and I would listen to I like Young Dolph and Key Glock, and my fiance actually introduced me to them. We went to a concert 3 years ago. That's not the point, though.
That's like, oh, it's her fault.
No. Actually, now she's like, we'll be in the car. Wait. We'll be in the car, and then she's like, babe, what do you have that song on? Put on some this song, Maverick City Musica, or I'm like,
trying to save it, bro.
I'm like, okay. I was like, no, you want to be on Christian now? Nah, but you always listen to it, believe it or not, because even, like, I used to like to read the Bible. Now I put on Audible. So I'll be laying down, or I'm doing things around the house, and I'm listening to it. An hour later, boom, I just recited a scripture from the Audible, and it's like real soft in my ear. So believe it or not, it's actually affecting you in the back of your head. You just don't know.
Understand that, though. They don't understand. And one of the things that, you know, my partner in crime in the radio is Flor. She said this about TikTok. You know, she says, you know, a lot of people get hooked on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
A lot. They said, but you know what? What I've decided, you know, if I'm going to spend an hour in TikTok, I'm going to read my Bible for 2. You know, I got to make sure if whatever time I dedicate it for TikTok, I'm going to double it. You know, either reading the Bible, praying, you know, doing something in the kingdom. You know, because if you let that affect your life, you're going to get more TikTok influence than what the word is and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's all, to me, it's like, what are you feeding yourself? So think about it. If you a person that works out, or people that you know that eats right and their diet, Monday through Saturday, they eat good. They kept their diet. They kept the diet. They kept the diet. They kept the diet. Sunday comes in, and that's their cheat day. Is that going to affect what they did the whole week?
Yes.
No.
Oh.
No,
It
it's
won't.
not.
I was going to say yes.
Because what they worked out through Monday through
They
Saturday,
burned it.
they burned it. You know, so the cheat day. I don't know if y'all follow The Rock. I mean, on his cheat day,
Oh,
he's like
dude,
eating
he
like
eats
30 stacks of
donuts, wings,
pancakes and stuff like that.
pizzas. I was like, what?
Is he getting fat?
No.
Why?
You're
because
right.
se alimenta the right way. So when he goes into this binge of eating junk food, it has no effect.
Yeah.
So if you fill your spirit with the word, you fill your spirit, and of course you're gonna enjoy this music. It's not gonna affect you. You're enjoying the music, but you're so full of the Spirit and you're full of God. You know that you understand that this is just. You're not gonna let it affect you.
Yeah.
You're not gonna let it, because your spirit is already. I mean, you're full of it. You know, you're full of God. You're full of your convictions. You're full of you know this will. You know, yes, they go hard. Yes, it's gonna motivate me to go work out. This is gonna motivate it to move. But at the end of the day, you're not living like Bad Bunny.
That's right.
You know, you're not living like Travis Scott.
Yeah.
You know, you're not living like,
Just
you
like
know,
women.
he just dressed like women, she said.
Yeah.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
and I mean, just I guess the most important thing is know the season that you're in and know where you're at, you know, spiritually. Because one
Know your
thing,
weaknesses.
because I do want to emphasize this that as I get closer to God, and as I seek for Him more, the secular music slowly starts being less and less and less and less.
That's good.
And when I listen to it, it just doesn't sit well with me at times. And now I'm at the point where I start the day with worship every morning. And if I don't start it with worship, just for some reason, it feels like you started off on the wrong foot, because you're not, you know, it's like, that's just sort of like, I guess, like it's part of me seeking God. It's just, I mean, I have music on, I drive all day. So literally music is on all day, and I just have to make sure that for the first hour it's worship, because if not, for some reason, then I just start feeling frustrated. I start feeling, and so I'm just kind of okay, like, so yeah, as I seek God more, the secular stuff starts sort of, you know, taking a backseat to everything. And if I do end up listening to something, like, it's just, you know, I mean, I don't feel like bad about it. I'm not like sitting here like, oh, I'm going to hell or something over this. Yeah.
My mom and dad were talking about that the other day. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm in the same routine now. You know, I work from home, and so when I'm working, you know, I got YouTube going on, or preaching, or worship, you know, going on, or I mean, some podcast that keeps on coming up on Wednesdays. You know, I keep on.
Oh yeah, some random AOA zero. What the heck?
So it's constantly going. The first part of my life, first part of my day. You know, my first part of my day is I'm working. I'm listening to worship. You know, I'm listening to instrumental. I mean, because that's what you're feeding. You know, what are you feeding your soul? You know, what are you feeding your mind? If you wake up in the morning and VIP, like, come on, you see what I'm saying? But I get you too. I get you, because the closer you get to God, you know, your lifestyle starts changing. And like you said, different things, even movies, different movies they just don't know.
Bro, I
can't see this. I can't know. Turn this off. You know, shows. They're like, no.
Talking about that real quick, because I know we have to wrap this up, but you brought that up, and right now, like, I'm in a season where I'm just looking for God, and I guess I've been going like through some hardship, and I've just been praying a lot. But that show that everybody's talking about, the serial killer one with Jeffrey Dahmer. I was so excited to watch that. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna keep it 100. That's my thing, like serial killer shows and stuff like that. Like I just, for some reason, I like watching them. I turned it on, and I just felt it in my spirit. It was just like, turn it off. Like, it just felt so heavy on me. So like when you say that, like, it's just true. You know, like, just like.
It's funny you said that, because again, this just reflects me. My son, he's a real thinker. My oldest, he's a real thinker, and he gets into like, what were they thinking? What were they saying? So he's like, hey, let's sit down and watch this. And at the end of the episode, it's like, you're not gonna watch this unless I'm with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna watch this unless I'm watching it with you.
Yeah.
And because like no, I got no. Like, I felt the same way. Like and as soon as I say something, I said like if I see something, it's coming off.
Yeah.
But I felt the same thing. Like you know, because I'm interested too. I'm like the story, how they're gonna relate the story, how they're gonna evolve it or whatever. And like I'm like right off the bat, I'm like I fought through it. And at the end of the episode, I had to leave. I said, "You turn that off, and you won't see another episode until I'm in the room with you." You know,
I mean, I'm sure it's good. It's just it felt heavy for me,
and,
but
and to each his own. You know, it just depends.
It goes
on
back to will.
The season of your life that you're at. You know, the season like right now is like I said, I will let them see it, but I have to be there.
Yeah.
Because there's things that now going at that and I'll finish saying it, and I'll let you take over. You were talking about parenting and time with the kids and stuff like that. Me as a dad, I decided to do this, and I said, okay, every time we have time, again, our schedule's so tight, but when me and my boys, a lot of the times is when our dinner time, and our dinner's at 5:00 in the afternoon, and sometimes it's at 4:30 in the afternoon. Because after that we gotta run and do things. And so you know what? I said, okay, we're gonna start watching The Chosen.
Ooh, it's such a good show.
This is teenagers again, okay? Dad, really? God? I mean, Jesus, the story of Jesus. Let's watch it. At the end of the third episode, my 17-year-old is like, man, they just showed the way they showed Jesus, the person of Jesus. Lo atrajo. It caught on, and he like I say Chosen, and they were all in the living room, both of the boys, and we watched the season. You know, and that was one of the ways that I could capture their eyes and let them see God or let them see Jesus in a different ways. Because we're talking about understanding the times that are living. If I can't open a Bible and they can't open a book and read the Bible, let me show you this real quick. And that's going to open it. And you know the questions he would say, Dad, does in the Bible say, or like, go find out.
Go check it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, Dad, does the Bible say, go find out. Go look it up. And you know what? He was in his room. He was
Checking
going through
it
his
out.
digital Bible. But you know what? We have to work those. So that's a little example, a side note, a suggestion. If there's something that you want to do with the fam and put them in your times, you know, in their times, they love to see they love to binge. Binge watch a lot of, you know, series and stuff like that.
For sure.
Sit down with the fam and look at that, you know.
And go on and on.
We don't finish.
3 hours.
Vigilia.
That's right.
But man, it's been a good episode. We just kept running and kept going, and hey,
What a good episode.
Honestly,
good job, guys. That was great.
But yeah, we just, man, once again, Pastor Frankie, thank you for joining us on this episode, man. I know, like you said, you have a busy schedule, man. It was last minute. I was like, hey, man, let me see if you can hop on.
Pull up.
Appreciate your time. Appreciate you and what God is, you know, doing in your life. And we just, you know, bless, like Sebastian was saying, you bless your future, your family, your ministry, everything that God is doing, you know, for you and just for the radio too, man. Much success to you guys, man. We're hearing you guys, and y'all tune in, man, every Saturday morning. You know, go as you're walking or going to the gym on a Saturday morning, running errands. Y'all go hear Pastor Frankie. And
I was mowing the lawn and I was listening to y'all. And then he was like, please hop on Facebook Live. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go inside.
All right, I'm on my way.
But yeah, man, appreciate one more time, Pastor Frankie,
thank you.
For hopping on and joining us. We hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I know it was a little long, guys, but yeah, we hope you enjoyed every second. It was worth it. It was worth it. We hope you guys received something out of it. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Check it out.
We out of here.
Peace.
Later.